Welcome to Discover Cape. Discover Cape is a 30-minute program that will introduce you to fascinating people, take you to interesting places, and enlighten you on important events that happen in our region. It's autumn once again, and that means it's the season to pick the grapes, carve the pumpkins, and roam through some haunted halls. We'll also update the progress on the new River campus and visit with a local celebrity. Stay tuned as we discover Cape.
Discover Cape is sponsored in part by Ameren.
You won't find these highlights on any sports network. Tonight, no medals will be handed out and no trophies to hoist. These are not made for TV games, but when you've got a deep freeze full of 16-ounce ribeyes, pork roasts, and venison sausage, you'll be cheering them on nonetheless. After all, in the untelevised wake of the storm, there's much more at stake than frozen steaks.
Welcome back. Southeast Missouri State University is making steady progress on the new School for the Visual and Performing Arts, or better known as the River Campus. It is the only school in the state that has a campus dedicated to the creative and cultural arts. Gary Miller is the interim director, and Scott Meyer is the project manager for the River Campus.
We will be the only campus in the state of Missouri to have a true arts campus. That is to say, where our visual and performing arts students will have an opportunity to interact with one another. Let me start from the ground up here. On the bottom floor of the old seminary, we will have practice rooms for music majors and minors to be using during the day. On the next two floors, we'll have, actually the next three floors, there will be offices for music department and faculty and dance, for music and theater, as well as dance. But we also have shared classroom space. So for example, we'll be able to deliver music history courses there, music theory courses there. But more importantly, over in what was the old chapel of the seminary will be the music recital hall. We think it's really just going to be a jewel. The old stained glass windows will be reinstalled, but more importantly, it will be a high plaster vaulted ceiling, retaining the old beams at the top of the room, which will be very, very handsome, and a stage which will accommodate smaller groups, as well as a very, very small orchestra pit for smaller performance opportunities in the music department. Then large ensembles will, like theater and dance, be performing in the Bedell Performance Hall, because that is a venue of 750 seats approximately, whereas the music recital hall will be limited to about 200 seats.
I'm Scott Meyer. I'm the Director of Facilities Management for the university. All right, well, the work began in end of 2004, 2005 with the earthwork and the beginnings of the campus. And then in the middle of 2005, all the rest of the contracts were let and construction began. Well, I guess it began as a vision that started when the campus was purchased and given to the university, and then it began to look at what they wanted to do with that. And out of that, and a lot of planning and brainstorming, came the vision of the River campus as a fine arts campus. Then it developed into a town gown relationship where the citizens passed a tax to address and help build the campus along with the university funds, and then it was designed and built as the fine arts campus that we see today. Each contractor hires their own labor, and many of them use the unions to do that, and they're a great source to provide qualified, skilled labor to help us do all the tasks that need to be done. Some very technical tasks, a lot of them are. And they come from a lot of places, but On this project, we had a state law that requires us to use Missouri labor first. And so in all cases, we first have gotten workers who work in or live in Missouri to do the work. And then occasionally there'll be a skill that that isn't available here, or we exhaust the labor force here and we make sure of that. And then occasionally we brought in some out-of-state labor, usually from Illinois. But for the huge percentage of it, the very small percentage of it, we've had to do that with. Almost all of it's right here from Missouri. If you've been out here, for the last 18 months, and to see the progress that's happened, and then look about, well, we have another year to do it, you kind of say, well, we're right where we need to be. Also, when we start a project, we have a process we call critical path scheduling, where we actually lay out all the tasks that need to be done and the things that are dependent on the previous tasks being done, and we lay that out, and then that's what we measure against. And we're right where we need to be. I'd say if we're behind on anything, it's probably the convocation center. We'd like to be a little further along on that. That's the piece that can come on last. It's not critical that it be done any early. So we believe that all the things are in place, all the labor's in place, all the contracts are in place, the materials that are coming are all right where they need to be in order to hit those completion dates. Weather does play a role, and that's the reason why, as we laid out the critical path, the putting the roofs on these buildings has been very important. And we are completing the roofs on the theater buildings as we speak, and doing that at this point of the year so that we can get heat in all these buildings and work through the winter is critical. We feel good about where we are on those things. The museum's again there, but if we get all the rest of the things done inside, then we can move to that as we get that roof on or as the weather breaks. So the weather does have an effect, but the more we get under roof, the less it affects. And that's one reason why we feel good about our chances moving forward through the winter. We are just about right on schedule. We've had some times when we've lagged behind, and we were able to work with the contractor, sometimes working a little bit of extra overtime, sometimes just staging it a little differently in order to catch up. So we feel very good about the seminary being completed by the end of the May, by the end of school year, so that we can move during the summer, and the theaters being completed during the summer so that they'll be ready in the fall for fall classes, and then we'll be finishing up some light things for a October homecoming opening.
One of the things that we're seeing already is that the River Campus is providing such a marvelous enhancement for downtown Cape Girardeau. In other words, I think that we will see within the next 2 years an absolutely seamless and very handsome development from downtown right up to the River Campus, right up to the doors of the old seminary, right up to the doors of the Bedell Performance Hall. I think that we will see an enormously handsome part of the city of Cape Girardeau, and this therefore is as important to our city as it is important to the university.
An industrial symphony of man and machine, growling engines and elbow grease, backup plans and watchful eyes, mountains of fuel, teeming with big yellow brontosaurs that could pick monster trucks out of their teeth, all to make sure the turbines whirl, so the lines buzz, so the night lights of the neighborhood flicker to life when called upon.
On our profiles list this month, Mike Rennick, a radio personality, is also a local favorite of the music scene.
My name is Mike Rennick, and I play with the Mike Rennick Band here in Cape Girardeau.
Who wrote this
I work at River Radio in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and do a couple things. I work in our creative services department, and I produce commercials for the 8 stations that are in our building, and I also am the program director for one of our stations, 92.9 The River. Our band is made up of 6 players. There is a drums, bass player, a keyboard player, saxophone player, electric guitar player, and I play acoustic guitar and I also sing. We get asked, a lot what kind of style of music it is, and I guess lately we've kind of been calling it kind of an acoustic pop rock jam band type of sound. Most of the music is original music, music that the band has composed, and kind of is geared toward songs that are kind of built around kind of catchy choruses and memorable lyrics, so to speak, but also have space within the music for the different guys to kind of do their thing and improvise quite a bit. I'm lucky to have Scott Bierswald plays the keyboards, and he's a great keyboard player, and there's plenty of space for him to kind of do his thing within the music, as well as like our sax player, and so it's kind of a lot of improv is mixed in, but not so much that you kind of get lost with the music. There's kind of a focus to the music, but yet some space for improvisation to take place. Thank you.
If you're looking for great, authentic Mexican food, visit El Durango. El Durango dinners are prepared fresh every day. Our dining area is spacious and comfortable, and our friendly staff is here to serve your every need. El Durango serves great drinks at great prices, and each is served with a smile. Visit El Durango for great, authentic Mexican food. El Durango, in the West Park Mall and in Fredericktown.
Here, kitty, kitty.
You'd think it would be easy to tell which kids have trouble with their eyesight, but that's not always the case.
Here, kitty, kitty.
For clues on how to spot the signs of childhood vision problems, visit checkyearly.com.
Tower Rock Winery gets its name from an acre summit rock formation on the Mississippi River. They create fine French hybrid wines, mead, and seasonal fruit wines. You'll find the drive to the winery as pleasant as the people that make the delicious wines.
My name's Bob Brewer. We're originally from Cape Girardeau area, and we purchased this property in Altenburg about 1996 and planted our first grapes in 97 and 98. And we opened the winery in 2001. We like the Tower Rock name, and it's 3 miles from our winery, and we just took that name. We were always looking for hills and southern exposures. The wine grapes seem to grow better with a southern exposure where they get the east to west sun all day long. And this has kind of a nice breeze to keep down on funguses and things like that grapes get. We started out, a friend took us to Herman, Missouri, to the wineries up there about 20 years ago. And we decided to start a souvenir wine glass collection and there was only 20 wineries at the time. And we went to one winery in Lake of the Ozarks, and his featured wine was persimmon wine. And he, instead of a wine glass, he served his wine out of a coffee mug. And my wife said, we could do this. Our son was kind of our first winemaker. He was making wine and got us interested in that part of it too. And so we went to Mountain Grove, Missouri State, and learned winemaking, a lot of reading, and a lot of trial and error. We still, you find out new things about winemaking all the time. When we harvest the grapes, usually in August through the end of, or the beginning of October, but we try to call everybody up to come out and help harvest, and normally we'll have between 14 to 20 people pick grapes, and then it takes about 6 to process them to get them to the tanks. We average probably about 6,000 bottles a year. We first started with 600 gallons our first year. We went to 800 gallons the second year, 1,200 gallons third year, 1,400 gallons the fourth year. And then our fifth year, we had a drought and we had a bumper crop, and we ended up with 2,500 gallons. Now this year we're back to about 1,500 gallons. Red wines are made from red grapes where you leave the skins on in a vat for about 5 to 7 days. And they call it punching down the cap. You push the skins and everything, the pulp down, and let the juice come over it, and it picks up the red color. The whites are just, we usually crush and press the same day, so they don't get any color. They might get a little yellow tint, golden tint, we like to call it, from if we let it sit on the skins a little longer. We usually start you with the dry whites and work down to the semi-sweets. And if you want a sweet, we'll ask you. Then we'll convert over to the dry reds, and usually go through the reds for your tasting. As all beginning wine drinkers start out, you start out with the sweetest wines usually, and but the more you enjoy wines, the drier the wine becomes that you do enjoy. The dry reds are my favorites now. My wife's like the semi-dry red, and we always enjoy a nice picnic wine, white wine for picnics. So any day you can enjoy any wine.
It is the privilege of VA to honor America's veterans with the excellent health care they have earned. And it is the nurses of VA, men and women of all backgrounds, who help to make that quality health care possible. VA Nursing, a career in caring. Contact vacareers.com.
You have the right to remain silent.
You have the right to be heard.
Anything you say can't be used
What you say will be listened to with dignity and respect. You have the right to information and assistance. Justice isn't served until crime victims are.
Every town has its own ghost stories, and we are no different. Cape Girardeau, Missouri is a seemingly sleepy town along the Mississippi River. Like in other small towns, as Halloween draws near, people's thoughts turn towards the supernatural. But ghouls, ghosts, goblins, and spirits aren't only around at the end of October. In fact, throughout Cape Girardeau, there are a few locations where spooks are a normal, or should I say, paranormal occurrence. First, we head downtown to Water Street, located just 50 feet from the banks of the mighty Mississippi River, sits Port Cape Girardeau, one of the oldest buildings in town. It's now home to a playful spirit. Dale Pruitt, the assistant general manager of the restaurant and bar, has had a few encounters with this ghostly presence.
It's kind of playful, I think, and I don't know, I perceive it as a female. I can't tell you exactly why, and after many, many years, I finally started referring to her as Belle. After I did that one time, we're in the lounge. There's a nautical bell that has a leather cord that comes down. I wasn't in the room at the time, but I was standing in a doorless doorway on the other side of the wall, and it rang itself, and it was loud. I walked around, and there was a little thing you pull down, it sticks out. Evidently it hit it and was falling down and waving. I was like, well, I made a joke that she must like her name. Other things I've seen over the years was looked like dry cleaning bags, kind of half inflated, about 3 foot off the ground. A couple of them going down the wall, down the stairs, which is the exact stairs that I'd have to be using if I wanted to run like heck. And since they were already in place, I decided to stand there and watch them. Those could possibly be explained, and a lot of things probably could, because of an old building. But gravity goes straight down. I'm not Newton, but when something comes off a back shelf and hits the front bar, it's nobody around it. It's interesting. It doesn't really scare me to death, but I kid around saying it's the hard-body people in here with me that bothers me. The ghost doesn't bother me at all. But if I'm in here by myself, I want to be in here by myself or with this ghost, but nobody else.
Just across town on the campus of Southeast Missouri State University sits 2 more haunted locations. The first is the Forest H. Rose Theater, said to be haunted by the spirit of a jilted lover. Mr. Dennis Sire of the Theater and Dance Department explains the legend behind this haunted theater.
From the way I understand the story, is that the land on which the Forest H. Rose Theater sits at the corner of Pacific and Normal, apparently there was a home here at one time where a couple had lived. He was having an affair, and of course there was supposedly a murder that took place, and that his wife Mary is still roaming the theater. Well, apparently when the theater was built back in 65 to 66, in row R, the last row in the auditorium here, around seat 11, there's a red mark on the concrete, and it's been sealed over. Apparently that is something that had surfaced one way or another. Some say it's the blood from the murder, but it's been sealed over and never really confirmed one way or the other. You know, there's many legends that there are various ghosts that haunt various theaters. In New York, in LA, in London, Paris. Of course, everybody knows about the Phantom of the Opera and so on and so forth. And this is one of the reasons, or I should say one of the traditions, that when we close a theater at the end of a rehearsal or a performance and all the lights are turned out, we always leave one naked bulb burning, and it's always been referred to as a ghost light.
The third and final haunted place we will look at is on the Southeast Missouri State University campus. Some say that Cheney Hall is the most haunted spot in town. So haunted, in fact, that recently a professional ghost hunter, Christopher Moon, was brought in to see just how haunted this place actually is.
I'm actually the senior editor and president of Haunted Times magazine, as well as a professional paranormal investigator. To be a ghost hunter is really different things to different people. In my opinion, you don't have to have any type of gift, you don't have to have any type of ability to do it. My goal is not to just be able to sense it and feel it and smell it and whatever the case might be. I have to have the picture, I have to have the voice, I have to have the video. If I can't produce those things, it's all in my head. When we do go in, we use several different pieces of equipment. Some of it's very specialized, some of it you can buy at your local discount store. Anything from digital cameras and night vision video to non-contact thermometers and natural EMF meters, which actually measure spirit activity. When it comes to orbs, I'm one of those people that is really a firm believer in what they are and what they might be. Once you have a physical death and you pass on, your energy, your orb leaves your body and floats upward and basically travels through what we call a doorway or a vortex. And these orbs apparently are our spirit viewed through our eyes, through this world.
While inside the Rose Theater, we got a few good pictures of the orbs, as you can see here and here. Now in this last photo, you can actually make out a face. Can you see it? It's right in the window, behind the girl with the red sweater.
My name is Jennifer Kaseheimer. I'm an actress here at the Rose Theater, and I participated in the Chris Moon Ghost Hunt the other night. I didn't think that it was going to be anything at all, and then it was actually more like I kind of believed it more when we went to Cheney than when we went to the Rose, just because like the little box, the little Frank's box thing, there was more interaction between it in Cheney than there was in the Rose.
It's the completed version of Thomas Edison's Telephone to the Dead, and it actually gives us direct two-way communication with the spirit world. They'll actually communicate through Frank's box and give us words from time to time. We're going to turn off the device. Do you have anything else to say? Get out of this place.
Okay, let's go.
Well, we came up with a lot of activity. You have to realize how many people have lived and died on this earth. There's spirits all around us all the time. It's great to go to an old haunted location and talk to the spirits that are there, but you have to realize that they're around us always. So you don't necessarily have to look for a haunting. Sometimes it can find you.
We leave this edition of Discover Cape with a visit to Begg's Family Farm, where pumpkins are plentiful, kids are courageous, and where a cornfield is truly amazing. Thanks for taking this journey with us. Next month, we'll profile Tom Hardy, a man of many culinary talents. We take a trip north to St. Genevieve to partake in a traditional French Christmas banquet, and find out what's new in the world of preventative medicine. Each month, we'll take this journey where there are many places to go. There are many interesting people to meet, and so many new things to discover. Join us again as we discover Cape.